The chosen one, everything you are looking for is already in your house. Open your eyes. That power, that abundance, that peace that you are looking for outside, it is already inside you, in your space, in your world. People look for miracles far away, chase the answers outside, but the truth is, everything is already within your reach, under your control. Think now. Can you see your home as an energy center? The order there, the vibration there, directs your life. But here's the secret. Do you know how to use it? Does it overflow with energies that pull you down without you realizing it? Or does it bring you abundance, peace, and power like a magnetic attraction field? Today is the time to wake up. Stop looking for it in the outside world and discover the real treasure. What belongs to you? What is already yours? Because what is ordinary for you as a chosen one is unattainable for others. Are you ready then? Write 77 in the comments now, because transformation is at your door. The murmurs started as barely audible ripples in the stillness, subtle shifts in conversation, fleeting glances exchanged like coded messages. Truth, no matter how expertly concealed, has a way of slipping through the cracks, refusing to be buried indefinitely. At first, it was easy to dismiss misinterpretation, envy, idle speculation, perhaps even a calculated smear from those unable to grasp the intricacies of the situation. But truth is relentless. It lingers in the air, waiting for the right moment to surge forward with undeniable force. What once could be ignored as insignificant noise has now erupted into a crescendo, shattering illusions and forcing those who once hid behind a veil of deception to confront the raw reality they so desperately sought to suppress. The force of revelation is like a storm that tears through the carefully arranged pieces of an illusion, leaving nothing but ruins in its wake. Every fabrication once spun with confidence now lies unraveling, each tangled thread revealing the hollow structure beneath. The fortress of deceit, once appearing unassailable, crumbles as the weight of undeniable proof presses down upon it. The practiced poise begins to crack, expressions tighten, words falter, composure gives way to the telltale tremors of exposure. The allies, who once stood in unwavering solidarity, now instinctively recoil, as if the very air around them has become toxic. Distance is their new safeguard, as they watch the unraveling unfold with cautious detachment, unwilling to be pulled down into the same abyss. These are not harmless distortions or minor lapses in honesty. These were orchestrated manipulations, engineered with precision to maintain control at any cost. Now, with the layers of disguise stripped away, the reckoning is no longer a distant threat, but a reality that tightens like an iron grip. Attempts to justify, to shift blame, to dilute the undeniable only serve to accelerate the descent. The more they grasp for explanations, the more the contradictions surface, creating a spiral from which there is no escape. What began as a moment of discomfort morphs into a full-fledged collapse, an irreversible unraveling that lays bare the devastation of their actions. When all avenues of avoidance are exhausted, when the last vestiges of plausible denial crumble under scrutiny, they are left standing at the threshold of their own undoing. Each step forward is now dictated by the weight of consequence, every action scrutinized under the unrelenting gaze of those who once believed. There are no shortcuts left, no concealed exits to slip through unnoticed. The moment they fought so hard to evade has arrived in full force. The mask that once served as a shield now lies discarded, exposing the reality beneath, one that no longer conforms to the image they so carefully curated. What once was polished and untouchable now stands raw and unprotected against the tempest of consequence. The carefully constructed persona, once upheld with unwavering confidence, has dissolved into the air, leaving behind only the undeniable weight of what has been done. The shame clings to them like a second skin, the realization settling in with an unbearable heaviness. Every word spoken, every decision made, every thread of deception woven into the narrative has now become an anchor, pulling them deeper into the abyss of their own making. They see now what they could not before, that what they built was never meant to last. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. History has seen this before. The downfall of those who believed themselves untouchable, the unmasking of those who mistook cunning for invincibility. There is an ancient inevitability to this moment, the realization that no amount of clever maneuvering can outpace the inexorable march of truth. The empire they crafted in secrecy is now exposed in broad daylight, its fragile foundation reduced to dust beneath their feet. The stage they once commanded has transformed into an arena of judgment, every misstep amplified, every falsehood dragged into the light for all to witness. The exodus of support is swift, an unspoken verdict delivered by the very hands that once upheld them. The same voices that sang praises now whisper in disdain. The admiration they once basked in, replaced with an unforgiving coldness. The ties that held everything together unravel with startling speed, and those who once stood at their side vanish into the crowd, eager to erase all traces of association. This is not a mere stumble. It is an erasure, a dismantling of everything they thought untouchable. Yet from the wreckage, something shifts. Balance begins its slow restoration. The distortions that once tilted the scales finally corrected. What was taken, trust, dignity, faith, is reclaimed, no longer lost in the void of manipulation. The same force that was wielded to deceive now recoils upon itself, restoring equilibrium with the precision of an unyielding force. For those who endured the deception, the weight lifts. The constraints that once silenced them dissolve, making way for a freedom long denied. The ground beneath them steadies, no longer shaken by uncertainty, no longer clouded by the shadows of falsehoods. And as the dust settles, a new chapter begins, one where clarity replaces confusion, where the echoes of deceit fade into the distance, and where the truth, no longer shackled, reclaims its rightful place. For far too long, the invisible chains held firm, not forged of iron or stone, but of hesitation, uncertainty, and the weight of unseen forces pressing down. Doubt seeped in like a slow-moving fog, making it impossible to see the horizon clearly. There was a time when it seemed like speaking up was an act of futility, a voice drowned out in the overwhelming roar of influence and authority. Standing alone against the current felt like an exercise in defeat, as if the tides of perception could not be shifted. Yet this captivity was nothing more than an elaborate mirage, a fragile construct sustained only by the belief that those in power were untouchable. Now, with the veil of deception lifted, their dominion fractures, revealing itself to have been nothing more than a hollow illusion. The control, once attributed to them, was little more than a stage production, an elaborate act that relied on your participation. Strip away the props, remove the artificial lighting, and the set collapses under its own weight. The version of yourself that existed before this web of manipulation, before your voice was stifled and your perceptions dismissed, remains intact beneath the layers of conditioning. That part of you, untainted and clear-sighted, has been waiting for this moment. It rises now, no longer shackled by the past, stepping forward with the certainty of one who no longer questions their own clarity. It's like a fire, shut up in your bones, a flame that can no longer be contained. You tried to hold it back, to fit into the mold the world created for you, to stay within the lines they drew, but the power inside you could not be silenced. It was always meant to break free. You were always meant to stand in the fullness of who you are. There comes a moment when the spirit inside you becomes too strong to ignore, when the truth you carry refuses to stay buried. That moment is now. You are stepping into a force that has been forged through every trial, every setback, every moment you thought would break you, but instead refined you. What was once uncertain is now unshakable. There is no longer room for hesitation, no more second-guessing, no more shrinking back. The force within you is not fragile, not fleeting, not something that can be swayed by opinions or opposition. It is solid, sharpened by everything you've endured. When you speak, it carries weight, because you've lived it, you've walked through the fire, and you have emerged with wisdom that cannot be denied. The words that once met resistance now hold power. The stance that once wavered is now grounded. You are no longer looking for permission. You are no longer asking to be heard. The truth in you has grown too strong to be ignored. They tried to dismiss you, tried to discredit you, tried to convince you that you were mistaken, but the truth does not require validation to remain true. The spirit inside you has been whispering all along, guiding you, strengthening you, preparing you for this very moment. And now, those who doubted are watching, not because you demanded their attention, not because you fought for their approval, but because the undeniable cannot be overlooked. In a world filled with masks and illusions, realness is magnetic. What is true calls to those who are ready to hear it. You see, there are some things in life that cannot be taught. They must be lived. You don't get this kind of authority from books, from second-hand knowledge, from watching others walk their path. This kind of knowing comes from the deep places, from the valleys you walked through alone, from the moments where all you had was faith, when you had to hold on, even when you couldn't see the way forward. This is the wisdom that is carved into your very being, the strength that comes from having stood in the storm and remained standing. And now, the shift is happening. You feel it, don't you? That weight you used to carry, that pressure to conform, to explain, to prove yourself. It's lifting. The opinions of those who never understood your path no longer hold power over you. The need to justify yourself has faded, because when you know who you are, when you know what you carry, when you know what you have survived, you don't waste energy trying to convince those who are not ready to understand. You move forward, fully anchored in truth, fully aligned with your purpose. But listen to me, this is not just about you. This awakening, this shift, this breaking free from every limitation placed on you, it's not just for your benefit. There are people connected to your obedience. There are people waiting for the courage that you carry. Your voice is an answer to someone's silent prayer. Your story is the roadmap someone else needs to find their own strength. What you have walked through has prepared you to lead, to uplift, to guide. And make no mistake, there will be those who resist. There will be those who do not want to hear, who prefer the comfort of illusions over the disruption of truth. But you are not here to be liked. You are not here to fit into a broken system. You are here to be a vessel, to be a force of clarity in a time of confusion, to be a light that exposes what is hidden. And let me tell you, when you walk in truth, you are unstoppable. No opposition, no false narrative, no attempt to discredit. You can override the power of authenticity. So go ahead, stand tall, speak boldly, move with confidence. The time of hesitation is over. The time of questioning is done. This is your moment to step fully into everything you were created to be. The doors that were once closed, they are opening. The opportunities that seemed out of reach, they are aligning. The people who once misunderstood you, they will see in time. You don't have to force what was always meant to be yours. You don't have to strive for what is already in motion. Your steps are guided, your path is prepared, your purpose is waiting. Walk in it, stand in it, own it. Because this is only the beginning. The best is yet to come. Many claim they seek truth, but only a rare few are prepared to embrace it in its rawest form. To see beyond illusion is both a gift and a burden, one that cannot be neatly packaged for easy consumption. Some will turn away, unable to face the sheer weight of revelation, but others will lean in, recognizing what cannot be ignored. The ones who understand will seek deeper, moving past superficial distractions to uncover the mechanics of reality itself. They will no longer accept the polished narrative, but will instead forge their own path, navigating by the stars of wisdom rather than the neon lights of deception. It's like the dawn breaking after a long, starless night. For so long, you walked through the darkness, thinking you were alone, believing the silence around you meant isolation. But now, as the first rays of light stretch across the horizon, you see it. You were never truly alone. Shadows shift, and figures step forward, no longer hidden, no longer afraid. The ones who always knew, the ones who always watched, the ones who never bought into the deception. They are here. Look closely, and the landscape has already begun to change. The separation you once felt was never real. It was an illusion created to keep you in doubt. But illusions crumble in the presence of truth. And now, as the mist lifts, you recognize the faces. Some known, some new, all drawn together by a force greater than coincidence. Some have been standing with you all along, waiting, holding the line, knowing this day would come. Others, freshly awakened, step forward, seeking connection, seeking alignment with those who have always seen beyond the veil. What once was silence has now become a movement. What once felt like loneliness has revealed itself as preparation. And now the voices rise, not in confusion, not in hesitation, but in certainty. This is the gathering. This is the shift. The time of waiting is over. The time of standing together has begun. There are forces beyond what the eye perceives, orchestrating moments with precision too exact to be mere coincidence. Whether named fate, destiny, or an unseen hand guiding the course of events, the result remains the same. A path illuminated at just the right moment, leading to an inevitable confrontation with truth. Those aligned with integrity are now met with allies who bring more than just comfort. They bring access, influence, and the means to amplify a message that can no longer be silenced. The puzzle pieces click into place, forming a picture that was always meant to be completed. With the storm behind, the moment of emergence arrives, not just as a personal victory, but as a larger correction to the imbalance that once existed. This is not simply about proving a point or exposing a falsehood. It is about the restoration of what was always meant to be. There is no need for gloating, only the quiet satisfaction of knowing that endurance has been rewarded, that the struggle had a purpose beyond the immediate battle. Now, recognition is given, not because it is demanded, but because it is undeniable. In the wake of external transformation, a deeper shift has taken place within. The experience has rewired perception, strengthening the ability to see beyond what is presented at face value. No longer will words alone dictate belief. Every claim will be scrutinized. Every narrative will be deconstructed. Every subtle intention will be examined. Where once there was hesitation, there is now unshakable discernment. The blind trust that once left room for manipulation has been replaced with an awareness so finely tuned that deception no longer finds a foothold. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. The weapons once used to undermine confidence, accusations of overreaction, dismissals disguised as concern, carefully worded manipulations, have lost their sting. The attempt to weaken has only served to strengthen. The patterns that once bound perception have been shattered, leaving nothing but unfiltered clarity in their place. No longer is validation sought from those who thrive on control. The authority that once seemed external has been reclaimed, now an unbreakable force within. What began as a battle for acknowledgement has evolved into something far greater. This is no longer about proving the past, but about stepping fully into a future shaped by wisdom earned through fire. The world has not only been observed, but understood, dissected, and reassembled with new knowledge that cannot be unlearned. The ability to see through falsehoods has become second nature, and the capacity to withstand pressure has transformed into an unyielding foundation. This is mastery, not given, but forged, undeniable in its depth and resilience. With illusions dispelled, with truth reclaimed, there is nothing left to fear. No longer controlled by the narratives of others, the path ahead is limitless, unbound by the restrictions that once dictated reality. What once felt impossible now lies within reach, waiting to be claimed by those who have dared to see through the veil and emerge stronger on the other side. The past was preparation. The present is confirmation. The future, entirely yours to shape. There exists a rare kind of perception, an instinct sharpened by experience, an awareness so finely tuned it discerns falsehood before it even takes shape. No pretense can pass unnoticed. No carefully worded evasion escapes detection. This is not mere intuition, but an evolved understanding, a mastery of reading the spaces between words, the tension behind smiles, the flickers of insincerity that others overlook. Yet this heightened awareness no longer leaves an open door for exploitation. Where once there were unguarded thresholds, there now stand fortified gates, protecting what was once too freely given. Compassion remains undiminished, but it no longer moves without direction. Empathy is still abundant, but no longer at the expense of self-preservation. The heart still extends kindness, but with discernment that ensures it is neither taken nor wasted. This newfound clarity is not just a safeguard, it is a torch, illuminating the way for those still wandering in the fog of deception. No lesson learned in struggle is lost. Every insight gathered along the way now serves as a beacon for those searching for solid ground. What once seemed like unbearable hardship has become the foundation of an unshakable resolve. The isolation endured has woven connections stronger than ever imagined. The moments of doubt, once paralyzing, have now crystallized into an unwavering certainty rooted in first-hand knowledge. No pain was in vain, no trial meaningless, each one an alchemy of suffering into wisdom, of wounds into armor. The past has not left scars, it has left a map, marking the way forward not just for oneself, but for all who seek a way out of the maze. Beyond the noise of the world, a different kind of voice calls out. Not in words, not in explanations, but in subtle confirmations that bypass reason and settle directly in the core of the soul. A presence, unseen, yet undeniable, sends signals of assurance, affirming what was long suspected, that this journey has never been walked alone, that unseen hands have steadied each step, that the invisible currents of existence have carried every moment toward alignment, guiding forward even when all seemed lost. Now, with the weight of past illusions lifted, the horizon stretches endlessly, no longer constrained by the limitations imposed by false narratives, no longer tethered to a reality dictated by deception. The paths that once seemed unreachable now come into focus. Opportunities that were blocked now move effortlessly into view. The unseen barriers that once kept possibility at bay have dissolved, leaving open roads leading to destinations once thought impossible. In this new space of clarity, there is room for connection built on truth rather than pretense. Where once presence had to be shrunk to accommodate fragile egos, now it is fully expressed, unapologetic in its authenticity. Encounters no longer feel like transactions, but like long-awaited recognition, a mutual acknowledgement of kindred spirits, drawn together not by circumstance, but by alignment. This is not about filling a void, but about meeting as two forces, neither seeking completion, both already whole. The knowledge gained was never meant to be hoarded, but to be shared with those who stand where the path once seemed unclear. The words, the warnings, the hard-earned wisdom, all of it is a lifeline for those still caught in the labyrinth of confusion. The world still echoes with voices attempting to distort reality, but now there is a counterforce, a voice that speaks clarity into the noise, that reminds others of what they have always known but were taught to doubt. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. What once felt like uncertainty has become a steady foundation. No longer hesitant, no longer questioning whether instincts are accurate. Every fiber of being now trusts itself completely. The fear of what lies ahead has melted into excitement for what is to come, no longer moving with caution, but with assurance, knowing that every challenge will only serve as another sharpening stone, refining what has already proven its resilience time and time again. What comes next is no longer dictated by forces outside oneself. The future is not a riddle to be solved, but a masterpiece waiting to be created. The past has gifted perception beyond the surface, passion that transforms judgment into understanding, certainty that carries neither arrogance nor apology. These are the tools earned through trial, now ready to shape a world beyond anything previously imagined. This is not an ending nor a resolution. It is an opening, the threshold of a new era in which the story is no longer written by those who once sought control. The pen is firmly in hand, the narrative reclaimed, the vision clearer than ever. What will be written in the chapters to come? What realities will be woven into existence now that the constraints of illusion have fallen away? The canvas is vast, the possibilities limitless, and the creator, fully awakened, fully aware, stands ready to begin.